Imagine sitting quietly in your home late at night. The room is silent. The lights are dim. Suddenly, your German Shepherd lifts its head, staring intently at a corner of the room where nothing seems to be there. Its ears stand tall. It begins to growl softly. Then it barks, but there is nothing there. Or is there? For centuries, humans have believed that dogs can see things we cannot: spirits, ghosts, or energies from another world. Across cultures, dogs are often described as guardians, not just of homes, but of the unseen. But is this belief true? Or is there a scientific explanation behind this mysterious behavior? In this documentary, we will explore the ancient myths about dogs and spirits, the incredible senses of the German Shepherd, scientific explanations for strange dog behavior, why your dog sometimes stares at nothing, and whether dogs really have a connection to the supernatural. By the end, you may see your German Shepherd in a completely different way. Part 1. The ancient belief about dogs and spirits. Long before modern science, people believed animals were deeply connected to the spiritual world. In many cultures, dogs were thought to see what humans could not. In ancient Egypt, dogs were associated with Anubis, the god who guided souls into the afterlife. In ancient Greece, the mythical dog Cerberus guarded the entrance to the underworld. In many African and Asian traditions, dogs barking at night was believed to mean they were warning humans about spirits nearby. Why did people believe this? Because dogs often behave in ways that seem mysterious, staring into empty space, barking suddenly at nothing, growling at corners of rooms, reacting to unseen sounds. To someone living centuries ago, without knowledge of animal senses, this behavior seemed supernatural. But modern science has revealed something incredible. Dogs are not supernatural. They are simply far more aware of the world than we are, and the German Shepherd is one of the most perceptive dogs on Earth. Part 2. The extraordinary senses of the German Shepherd. German Shepherds were originally bred in Germany as working and herding dogs. Their job was not just to move sheep. They had to detect predators, protect livestock, and watch over their human companions. Because of this, they evolved to have extremely powerful senses. Let's explore them. Their hearing. Humans hear sounds between 20 Hz and 20,000 Hz. Dogs can hear sounds up to 65,000 Hz. This means your German Shepherd can hear things like mice moving inside walls, electrical currents in appliances, footsteps far away, distant dogs barking miles away. So when your dog suddenly turns its head and stares, it might simply be hearing something you cannot hear. Their sense of smell. The nose of a German Shepherd is one of the most powerful biological tools on Earth. Humans have about 5 million scent receptors. Dogs have over 300 million. That means they can detect things like people who passed by hours ago, animals outside the house, changes in air currents, even human emotions through scent. Your dog might appear to react to something invisible, but in reality, it is reacting to a smell you cannot detect. Their vision. Dogs see differently from humans. While humans see more colors, dogs are better at detecting movement in low light. This means your German Shepherd can notice tiny insects moving, shadows shifting, light reflections, objects moving in darkness. To you, the room may look empty, but to your dog, it is full of subtle movement. Part 3. Why dogs sometimes stare at nothing. One of the most common reasons people think dogs see spirits is this: the dog stares into empty space.
But this behavior has several scientific explanations. 1. They are listening. Sometimes dogs stare because they are focusing on distant sounds. For example, a car passing far away, a person walking outside, pipes moving in the walls. German Shepherds often pause and stare while trying to identify a sound. 2. They detect vibrations. Dogs are extremely sensitive to vibrations. They can feel things like footsteps through floors, doors opening far away, movement in another room. Your dog may appear to react to nothing, but in reality, it is detecting vibrations before you notice them. 3. Light and shadows. Dogs are very sensitive to subtle visual changes. Things like curtains moving, reflections on walls, small insects flying, can easily capture their attention. To you, it might seem like the dog is staring at a ghost, but to them, it may simply be a tiny movement. Part 4. Nighttime behavior. Many people say their dogs behave strangely at night. This happens for several reasons. At night, the environment becomes quieter. Sounds travel farther. Small noises become easier to detect. Your German Shepherd may hear things like animals outside, wind moving objects, other dogs barking miles away. Because German Shepherds are natural guard dogs, they are always alert. Even when resting, their brain stays active. If they detect something unusual, they react immediately. This protective instinct sometimes makes it seem like they are responding to something supernatural, but in reality, they are simply doing their job. They are protecting you. Part 5. The psychological behind human beliefs. Humans naturally try to explain things they don't understand. When a dog behaves strangely, people often jump to supernatural conclusions. But there are psychological reasons for this. Pattern recognition. The human brain is designed to find patterns. If a dog stares at a corner, the brain asks, "What is there?" If we cannot find an explanation, we may imagine one. Fear of the unknown. Darkness and silence can make normal dog behavior feel frightening. A simple bark in the middle of the night can suddenly feel like a warning about something unseen. But usually the explanation is much simpler. Your dog heard something. Cultural stories. Many movies and stories portray dogs as animals that can detect ghosts. Over time, these stories influence how people interpret dog behavior. But science continues to show that dogs react to natural stimuli, not supernatural ones. Part 6. Why German Shepherds are so alert. German Shepherds are not ordinary dogs. They are one of the most intelligent and observant breeds in the world. They work in police forces, military operations, and search and rescue missions. These dogs can detect explosives, track missing people, identify drugs, and find survivors after earthquakes. Their senses are so powerful that they often notice things long before humans do. So when your German Shepherd reacts to something invisible, it may simply be detecting real environmental signals that you cannot perceive.
Part 7. What science really says about dogs and ghosts. For centuries, people have believed that dogs possess a mysterious connection to the unseen world. Stories from different cultures describe dogs barking into empty spaces, staring at dark hallways, or reacting to something invisible. Moments like these often lead owners to ask a fascinating question: can dogs actually see ghosts? Despite these intriguing beliefs, modern science remains cautious about such claims. Experts who study canine behavior explain that what may appear supernatural is often the result of dogs experiencing the world in ways humans simply cannot. One of the leading researchers in canine cognition, Dr. Alexandra Horowitz, explains that dogs constantly detect signals that humans miss entirely.
Because of their heightened sensory abilities, dog owners may interpret their reactions as mysterious or paranormal. However, science has yet to produce any evidence proving the existence of ghosts or apparitions. Instead, researchers believe dogs are responding to real environmental stimuli that remain invisible or undetectable to us. Dogs rely heavily on senses that are dramatically more powerful than human senses. Their hearing and smell are so refined that they often detect changes in the environment long before people notice anything unusual. For example, dogs can hear sounds at frequencies far beyond the human hearing range. While humans generally hear sounds between 20 and 20,000 Hz, dogs can detect frequencies reaching up to 60,000 Hz. This means a dog may react to sounds that seem completely silent to us. Distant footsteps, electrical signals, ultrasonic noises from electronics, or the faint rustling of a small animal hidden nearby. Imagine placing a sensitive microphone in the exact spot where your dog suddenly began barking or staring. In many cases, that mysterious reaction might reveal a very ordinary cause, perhaps the movement of an animal, wind pushing against a structure, or even subtle vibrations traveling through walls or floors. What seems supernatural to us is often simply a sound we cannot hear. But hearing is only part of the story. A dog's sense of smell is even more extraordinary. Dogs possess hundreds of millions of scent receptors, allowing them to detect odors at concentrations humans cannot even imagine. Their noses can pick up not only specific smells, but also chemical signals known as pheromones, which communicate emotional states among animals. Because of this ability, dogs can detect things like a person who walked through a room hours earlier, subtle chemical changes in the air, the emotional state of nearby humans or animals. To a dog, the environment is filled with invisible scent trails and chemical signals that form a complex sensory landscape. In other words, when a dog reacts to something we cannot perceive, it may simply be following a scent that exists entirely beyond our awareness. Some dogs possess even more remarkable abilities. Scientific studies have shown that certain dogs can detect changes in Earth's magnetic field, which they may use for orientation. Others can detect subtle biological changes in humans. For example, specially trained dogs can alert their owners before the onset of medical conditions, such as seizures or diabetic episodes. These abilities sometimes make it appear as if dogs possess a mysterious sixth sense. However, Dr. Stanley Coren, a professor emeritus of psychology who has studied canine intelligence for decades, says there is still no scientific evidence that dogs possess supernatural perception. Dr. Coren emphasizes that dogs' reactions almost always result from environmental cues, sounds, scents, vibrations, or movements that humans simply overlook. So when a dog stares into a dark corner or suddenly begins barking at nothing visible, the explanation is usually something natural rather than paranormal. Yet, despite scientific explanations, the idea that dogs can sense spirits continues to capture human imagination. Across history and folklore, dogs have often been portrayed as guardians of both the physical and spiritual worlds. In some traditions, dogs are believed to stand watch over spiritual thresholds, protecting humans from unseen forces. These cultural stories have helped shape the modern belief that dogs might perceive energies or presences beyond human understanding. Even today, some paranormal investigators observe the behavior of animals during ghost hunting investigations, believing that dogs may react to unseen entities. Science, however, approaches these claims with caution. Some researchers in the field of parapsychology have explored whether subtle environmental factors, such as electromagnetic fields or unexplained sensory signals, might influence animal behavior. While these studies continue, none of them have produced reliable evidence that dogs can detect ghosts. Instead, the growing field of canine neuroscience suggests that dogs process sensory information extremely quickly. Their brains are constantly analyzing patterns of sound, scent, and movement, comparing them to past experiences. Over time, dogs learn to recognize patterns in their environment. When they encounter something unusual, their brains react instantly. To a human observer, this quick response can appear mysterious or even supernatural. But in reality, it is the result of a brain that has evolved to detect subtle changes in the environment. Another factor often overlooked is the emotional bond between dogs and their owners. Dogs are incredibly sensitive to human emotions. If a person becomes frightened or anxious because they believe they have seen something strange, the dog may react to that emotional shift. A barking or restless dog may simply be responding to its owner's fear rather than reacting to an unseen presence. Sometimes unusual dog behavior may even be linked to health issues. Sudden anxiety, confusion, or changes in perception can occasionally indicate medical concerns. If a dog begins behaving unusually without a clear explanation, veterinarians recommend having the animal examined to rule out health problems. Despite all the scientific explanations, stories about dogs sensing mysterious presences continue to fascinate people. Many dog owners recall moments when their pet refused to enter a room, barked into an empty hallway, or stared into darkness with intense focus. Experiences like these remind us just how different the canine world is from our own. So the question remains, can dogs see ghosts? According to science, there is no evidence to support that idea. But the truth is still fascinating. Dogs experience a world far richer in scent, sound, and subtle environmental signals than humans can perceive. Their senses allow them to detect things we will never notice, and sometimes that difference in perception makes their behavior appear mysterious, even supernatural. Perhaps the real mystery is not whether dogs can see ghosts, but how much of the world around us exists beyond the limits of human senses. Dogs may not see spirits, but they certainly experience a much bigger world than we do. Final thoughts: the mystery of dogs. So, can German Shepherds see spirits? Science says no. There is no reliable evidence that dogs can see ghosts or supernatural beings. But the truth is still fascinating. German Shepherds experience the world in ways humans cannot imagine. They hear sounds we cannot hear, they smell things we cannot smell, they detect movements we cannot see. To us, their behavior may look mysterious, but to them it is simply their way of understanding the world, and perhaps that is the real wonder. Your German Shepherd may not see spirits, but it sees a world far richer, more detailed, and more alive than the one we experience. And that is what truly makes these dogs extraordinary. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like, subscribe, and share buttons for more interesting German Shepherd videos.